We are going to continue from where we stopped. So last time we talked about the if statements, which is what you can use to determine whether to run a particular code or not. And we started with the simple if statements, which always allow you to run some code if the condition is okay, and we're able to do some stuff with it. So, and lastly, last time we talked about the if else. So we started with if, then we moved to the if else, which is what I have the sample here. So what is if else? If else is useful when you need to run some codes, but it's depending on a particular condition there. So if the condition is okay, you are going to run a set of code, and if the condition is not okay, then you are going to run another set of code, which is what I use the login and logouts to kind of explain the stuff last time. So imagine that you create a site where the user can log in or log out, but you want to display a button based on the states of the user there. So if the user is logging, you want to show a logout button, and if the user is not logging, you want to show a login button. So how do you do this? You need this if statement in order for you to do something like that. So for example, here now, what I want to do, if I want here, I can just use create a variable logged in here, and this variable here is going to be boolean, which is going to be false by default. And what I want to do, so if logged in, so if the user is logging, I want to do something. Else, I want to do something like that. So what I if the user is logging, what I want to show is welcome to the app. So anytime you logged in, the message that is going to be printed out is welcome to the app. But if you are not logged in, I want to output this message, which is going to be please log in first. So we have these two codes that we want to run, but only one of them is going to run at the time there. And which one is going to run is depending on the condition that you are checking with this if. So if the condition is true, then it's going to run everything that is under the if and skip whatever you have under the s. But if the condition is false, it's going to skip what you have under the if and it's going to run what you have under the s statement added. So which means here now, with this current state that we have there, this thing is going to output please log in first, because the user or the statement or what we are using to check is false. Because if you look at the condition here that we pass into the if, it is false. And since it's false, it means it's going to skip this statement here and it's going to run this second one that follows it there. Please, let me take my mouse. This trackpad is not just
Yeah, I'm with you, so I'm not.
Yeah, as you can see here now, what we are seeing on the screen is this please log in first. Why is it showing this one and it's not showing the one we have at the top? It's because of the condition that we are passing into the if. So the if is going to evaluate whatever you pass into it, and what is there is going to translate it to boolean. Don't forget, boolean is true or false. And if whatever you have here, if it is translating it to false, then it's going to skip whatever you have under the if and it's going to run what you have under the s. But if this if translate this into true, then it's going to run whatever that is under it and it's going to skip the one that is under the s. And as you can see right now, it's outputting the content of s. Why? Because the statement that we are using or what we are using for the condition here is false. So here now, if I change it to true, you see that it's going to run the one that is under the if, which is welcome to the app. So this statement is very, very important there, because it's something that you are going to be using later on to decide which code to run on your page there. So if the user click on this button, I want you to do this thing, but not just doing it, I need to check some other condition before I can do whatever I want to do on the page there. And this if is one of them that you are going to be using there. So if you just want to run a code, if the statement is if the condition is okay, then you just use the if statement. That one doesn't care about the else. But if you know that you want to do two things, but only one of them is going to occur at the time there based on the condition, then you can use this if else. So the if condition is okay, it will run whatever you have under the if. And if the condition is not okay, then it will run whatever you have under the else like that. So not both of them. You can never get both of them. It's only one stuff that you are going to get, and it all depends on what you are passing into the bracket of this if here. So if whatever you are passing to this bracket is giving you true, then you are going to run this one. And if whatever you pass here is giving you false, then you are going to do what you have there. For example, here now, if I give 3 is greater than 5, this is a condition here. And this condition here will either be true or false. So if the condition is false, this is what we are going to do. And if the condition is true, then this is what we are going to do. But you know that this thing will never be true, because there's no way 3 will be greater than 5. So if I save it now, what you are going to get is please log in first, because the condition is false. And this is what we call the if-else statement. And when you are dealing with if-else statement here, this one is only checking one condition. And based on that one condition, is either you do this one or you do whatever you have under the else part there. And that's where this if else statement comes in. But there is some time you want to run multiple conditions. So you have a code, and you have multiple conditions that needs to be tested here before you can run a particular code. And that's where this if else if comes in there. So we have this if else if ladder. Let me put it there. We call it ladder, which is what I've already attributed here. So we have the if statement, we have the if else statement, which is something I just explained again right now. And again, the other one that we have here is this if else if ladder here. And what does this one stand for? Or what do we use this one for? We use it so anytime you have multiple conditions that you want to test, that's when you'll be using this if else if ladder there like that. For example, now imagine you have a grade. So I have a grade, and based on the grade here, or based on the score, you want to calculate the grade. So I have a score of 78 here. You know that when you are talking about grade, we have different grade there depending on your score. So we have the grade A there like that. We have the grade B. Let me move it to the next line. We have the grade C. We have D. We have E, and we have F, depending on the system you are using. Some people do not have F. They do not have E like that. So for example, if you are dealing with WAEC now, you can have something like this, where you are going to have the A, you are going to have the B3, A1, whatever stuff. But yeah, we are not using the number in front of it. We only have this. But we want to assign a condition to all these letters here. So in order for you to have A, that's a score you need to have. In order for you to have B, that's a score you need to have, and so forth like that. So for this A now, in order for you to have A, you must score between 70 to 100 like that. So inclusive. So here for the B, it's going to be 60 to 69. So for the C, it's going to be 50 to 59. So for D, it's going to be 45 to 49. For E, it's going to be let's just say 40 to 44. And for the F, so that's 0 to 43. So here now, we want to test. Look at the score now. We now want to check different conditions. Look at it. We need to check this score. Where is it falling to under this particular grade? So which grade is 78 going to fall to? So we need to check the condition here and see which one that is going to match the correct answer that we want to attribute out. So if the score is between 70 and 100 inclusive, we are going to show A. But if it is between this range, we are going to show B. If it is between this range, we are going to show C, and so forth like that. So how do you check this kind of a condition? Because this is not one condition. It's not like the one we did up here that we're actually checking only one condition. And if this condition is true, we do what we have there. And if the condition is not true, we do what we have inside the else. Here now, we have multiple conditions that we need to check against this single value. So when you need to check multiple condition against single value, or it can be multiple value too, but if you have multiple conditions that you need to check before you can do something, then that's where this if else if comes in there. So we have the if and we have the else if that allows you to supply extra condition there. So for example here, we have the if. So if the score that we are testing is greater, by now you know what I'm typing, so greater or equals to 70, like this, and so you know what is and now. So score like this is less or equals to 100. So this is the first condition that I'm testing here. So I want to do something if the score is greater than 70 and at the same time the score is less than or equal to 100. So if this condition is true, we want to output something out. So if this condition is true, we want to output 8, the A like this. But what if the condition is not true? So we need to check whether the score B or the score C or the score D or the score E or this F here. So these are different conditions that we check, and that's where this else if comes in. So if it is just one condition that you are checking here, you can just do else directly like this. So it means anybody that is not fall under this category, what do you want to do? You just want to output fail, or you want to output F. But this is wrong. This is wrong, because if you do it like this, it's going to give us A by the time we console out this stuff. As you can see, we are getting A on the screen. But what if my score
Hello, sir.
67? Yes. What
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
this is this said. This is I'm explaining this if else if, but right now I've not really used this else if. I'm just explaining this one right now first. That if you have it like this is wrong, because the scene is not going to capture all this other grade here. What we want to do here is that we have a score, but based on the score here, we want to output a grade. So if your score is between 70 to 100, I said we want to output A. If your score is between 60 and 69, we want to output B, and so forth like that. These are the condition here that we need to check before we can output a particular letter. But right now, what we have on line 158 to 162 is not really solving our problem, because this one is only focusing on A and F, which is wrong. Because here now, someone that scored 67 supposed to get B. But now if I save the code on the screen, it's showing that the person got F. Look at it. He said the person got F, which is wrong. Because anybody that gets 67, anybody that scored between 60 to this 69, what we're supposed to output that is B. But right now, it's saying the user score F, which is wrong. Why is it wrong? It's because of the way we structure our condition here. Because we are only checking one condition, and the only condition we are checking is this for the A. So if your score is between 70 and 100, then we are going to console log out A. But if it is not following any of these things here, then we are console log out F, which is wrong, because the time you are going to get F is when your score is in between 0 and 43. So how do you deal with this other condition here? How do you test for other condition? That's where this else if comes in. So instead of you using the S that I have here, you can actually test for other condition by using this else if. So it's not just S, you are going to add if to it. And here now, what we are doing is that we want to test another condition. So this is the first condition here. So this is how it looks like when you are dealing with if else if ladder. So you are going to have the if, you are going to have condition 1 like this, then you have the statement 1 in this way. So let me type out the structure first. So when you are dealing with it, so again you are going to have else if, you are going to have condition 2. C2 means condition 2, and you are going to have statement 2. Again, you are going to have else if, C3, and so forth like that, depending on the number of conditions that you want to test there. So here, we have the C1. This is condition 1. This is condition 2, and this is condition 3. And this is how this thing works. So when the JavaScript get to this line, it's going to check your condition 1, whether it is true or false. If your condition 1 is true, it's going to run your statement 1 and it's going to skip everything that follows it. Hello? When you are dealing with this if ladder here, what it's going to do is that you want to check different conditions, and based on the one that is okay, it's going to run the statement for that one only. Hello? When you are running this your if else or if and else if ladder, it's going to check the first condition. If the first condition is okay, it will run statement 1 and it will skip everything that follows it. Please, it's always going to run one of the statements, not all of them, but you are checking multiple conditions. If the first one is not okay, it will go to the second one. If the second one too is not okay, it will go to the third one, and it will keep moving like that until it sees the one that is okay. But if the first one is okay, it will not even bother to check the second one, and it will not bother to check the third one. I hope you are following. Hello?
Yes, sir.
So what I'm saying here is that the if else if ladder, it allows you to check multiple conditions. So this C1 here is the first condition, C2 is the second condition, C3 is the third condition, and so forth like that. You can have C4, you can have C5, you can have C6. It all depends on the condition. Look at the application we are trying to work on right now. We are trying to work on a grade system. And if you look at it, how many conditions do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So which means here now, we are going to have 3 conditions are there. But how do you do this thing? You are going to use this method here, this if and else if ladder. And how does it work? So the way it works is that when JavaScript get to this line, it's going to check this your condition C1. If the condition is okay, it will run your statement 1. And once you run your statement 1, it's going to skip everything that follows it. It's only one thing that's going to work here, not all of them. So if your C1, which is condition 1, is okay, it will run statement 1 and it will skip this your C2 and this your C3. The only thing it's looking for is 1. It's only looking for one of them that is okay. And once you see the one that is true, it will only do that one and it will skip the remaining one. But what if this C1 is not okay? That means if it is not true. So if it is not true, it's going to skip this statement 1 and it will not check the second condition. So if the second condition 2 is not okay, it will skip statement 2 and it will check this as C3, which is condition 3. If the condition 3 too is not okay, then it will skip the statement 3 and it will continue with other things that you have in your program. There like that. But if the C1, again, if the C1 is not okay, it will skip this statement 1. But if the C2 is okay, it will perform statement 2 and it will skip this C3 here along with the statement that follows it. The way this thing works is that it's only one of them that is going to run based on the condition that is okay for you. This one now is going to check multiple conditions. It's going to check C1, it's going to check C2, and it's going to check C3. But it's not going to be going to them like that. It will start from the C1. If the C1 is okay, it will run statement 1 and it will skip the remaining things that follows it, all the other statements that follows it. But if the statement 1, which is this, if this C1, which is condition 1, is not okay, so let me type this in full. So this C1 is just condition 1, C2 is just condition 2, C3 is just condition 3. So what this thing is going to do, I'm coming. So what this thing is going to do here is that it's going to check condition 1. If the condition 1 is false, it's going to skip statement 2 and go to condition 2. So if the condition 2 is okay, which is true, it's going to run this your statement 2 and it will skip everything, other statement that follows it. That means other conditions that follows it. But if the statement 2 is not true too, like if this condition 2 is not true, it will go to condition 3 and it will check. If this one is true, then it will run statement 3. Only one of them will be run there based on the condition that is okay. Any one of them that the condition is okay, the first one that is saying that the condition is okay, that's the only one is going to perform a statement. Not all of them. It's not going to do all of them. It's only going to do the one that its condition is okay. And that's what we are trying to do right now with this application that we have done here. We have different condition that we want to test. So when the condition is when the score is between 70 and 100 inclusive, we are going to show A. When the score is between this 60 and 69, but how do we check for the score whether it is under this 60 and 69? That's where this else if comes in. So we need to pass the condition here. And how do we put the condition? So condition is going to be score is greater or equals to 60 and the score is less or equals to 69, because this is the condition for in order for you to be able to have a grade B. So in order for you to be a grade B, your score have to be between this 60 and 69 inclusive. That's why I'm using greater or equal and less or equal, because 62 will give you the same B. And here now, what did I want to do? I just want to console log out B. And what we are doing here is what we call if else if ladder. Because if you look at it here now, we firstly have the if that have this condition on line 166. But if this condition is not okay, it will skip this line 167 and it will continue to line 168 to check this second condition here. That one if the condition 1 here is not okay. But if this condition 1 is okay, which is what we have on line 166, it will not bother to check the condition that we have on line 166, because it will only run this one and it will skip every other condition and the statements that follow the particular one that is true. Any one of them that is true, that's the only one it's going to do, and it's going to be the remaining one that follows it. So if you want to check for the next condition now, which is C, so we just need to do our else if again, and we'll pass the condition. The condition is going to be score is greater or equals to 50, and the score is less or equals to 59 like this. So it's less or equal to 59 like this. And what do we want to do? We want to console log out C. So what we are doing here is what we call if else ladder there. So if then else if ladder, because this one allows you to specify multiple conditions, not just one condition that you that we are doing with this if else here. So when you are dealing with if else, the only condition you just have is the one on the if. So if that condition is okay, it will run this statement and it will skip the one under the else. But if this condition is false, it will skip this one and it's going to perform the one that is under the else. But what if you have multiple conditions that you need to test if this first one is not true? So when you have multiple conditions that needs to be tested, if the first one is not okay, then that's where this else if comes in. So the first one, it will check this condition. If it is okay, it will run this statement and it will skip the rest, because you can only do one. So any one that is okay there, it will do the statement and it will skip every other condition that follow that particular one. So if you want to do it again too, for that the other statement or the other condition, we can just duplicate this one. So for the other one, which is going to be this D, that's 45 to 49. So here now, I'm going to put 45 here, and here I'm going to put 49. So whenever this condition is okay, we want to output D like that. And if it is not, then we still have other condition again that needs to check. And for this one, it's going to be 40 to 44 like this. So once you have 40 to 44, as you can see here, it's going to be E like that. So it's going to be E like that. So it's going to be E. And again, if it is not, if this condition 2 is not true, then we want to check again. So if it is 0, so if the score is greater or equals to 0 and it is less or equals to 43 like that, we know that that is F. And this is what we call if else if ladder. Because if you look at it now, it looks like a ladder that you are climbing up, and that's where the name is coming from. So if else if ladder is useful when you have multiple conditions that you want to test there and you want to do some stuff, then you can use this if else if ladder. So how is it going to work? It's going to check for this first one first, and once you check and you see that the condition is okay, it will run this one and it will skip everything. All this one will be useless if this first one is okay. If the first condition is okay, all this one, they are useless. It will not do anything with them, because it's only looking for one of them, one of the condition that is okay. And any one of them that is okay, that's the only one is going to run. So if I save it now, you see that the grade is going to be B. Why is grade B? Is because our score is 67 here. And what is it going to happen? So this is how it's going to work. So this is how it's going to work. Let me explain the way the thing is going to interpret everything. So our score is 67. So this thing is going to check. Is score greater than 70 here? Is score greater or equals to 70? You know that that is no. And you know that with this particular stuff with the and, you don't even need to check this one again if the first one is false. If you remember what we talked about in the last class here, if your first condition with the and here, if it is false, just know that you are returning that left hand side. And when you return this left hand side which is false, you know the if is going to see false, and when it see false, you know that it will not do anything based on what we explained when we are talking about the if statement. If statement will only run what is under it if the condition is true, and if the condition is false, then it's going to skip the statement that is under it. And that's what is going on here. We are checking if our score is greater than 70 and at the same time is less or equals to 100. But if you look at it now, this condition is false for this particular value. So since the condition is false, it's going to skip this statement and it will go to the next condition and check again. So when it get to this condition, it will check, is 67 greater or equal to 70? Yes. And is this 67 less or equals to 69? Yes. So that means this condition now is true. And since the condition is true, it's going to output what we have here. And that's the reason why you see that it's printing out B. It's not printing out A. And at the same time, it's not printing out C. It's not printing out D. It's not printing out E. And it's not printing out F. Why is it not getting to all this one? It's because this one is true. And once you see any of the condition that is true, any other one that follows it is going to skip them. I hope you guys are here.
Yes, sir. We are here, but the
So
explanation is not clear. Sir.
there is it here. There is it here. There is it here. There is it here. Okay, let me use a simple condition. I think this condition might be scary. So let me use a simple condition. So here now we have const age to be 3. So here now I want to output some text based on the age that is here, based on the content of this age. So here I have if. So if age is the same thing as 3, what did I want to do? I want to console log out. I want to console log out. It is 3. It is, or I just want to console log out 3 directly. So if it is 3, or let me just output something. Let me just output raster like this. So if it is 3, but here now I don't want to use S because I see other thing that I want to check whether this thing is equal to. Because I don't want to use only one condition. When you are using this pattern, you are only checking the value against one condition. But what if you want to check it against multiple conditions? That's where this one comes in, which is going to be else if. So when you put the if in front of S, it means you want to add another condition again when this first one is not okay. So if the first condition is not okay, it will check the second condition. If the second condition is not okay, it will check the third condition, and so forth like that, depending on the number of conditions that you have there. So here now, if the age is 1, so what did I want to output out? I just want to output out math like this. And again too, I want to have another thing. Else if age is the same thing as 2, what did I want to do? I want to console log out Yoruba there. So which is going to be, or let me just put English like this. So as you can see, we want to do this stuff here. These are what we want to do. But the one that is going to coming out is depending on the one that the condition is okay. The one that the first condition is okay. Hello? Look at this here. We have all this stuff that we want to do, but only one of them that we want to showcase at a time based on the condition. So, and what is it going on here? The way this thing will work is that this is the age here, and this is the condition. So when you get to this if, it will check this condition. And what is the condition? The condition here is that is the age equals to 3. You know here you either get true or you get false. So if whatever you have inside the if is true, it's going to perform what is under that. It's going to perform the statement. And once it's done performing the statement, it will skip every other if the else if that you have there. Hello?
you, sir.
If the first condition is okay, perform the statement and skip the rest. That's how it work. If the first statement is okay, it's going to skip that first one and it will go and check the second condition. If this second condition too is false, it will skip this one and it will check the third one until it sees the one that is okay. And if none of them is okay, for example here now, if I have 31, none of them will be okay. You see that nothing is coming out on the screen. Nothing is going to come out on the screen. Why? Because what it's going to do here is that it's going to check, is 31 the same thing as 3? Is 31 the same thing as 3? Hello?
No, 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 no,
Then
no.
that means the condition is false. So since the condition is false, it's going to skip everything under this if. And the next thing it's going to do is that it will move to this one and check the condition again, because this is another condition. Is age the same thing as 1?
No.
The same thing as 1?
No, 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 sir.
And since this one too is no, it will skip it. That means it will not do anything here. It will go to the next one. Is age the same thing as 2?
No, sir.
Then it will skip this one too, like that. So, and if it did not see any one of them that matches the condition, then nothing will happen. But now imagine that we now have something like this. We have 2. We have 2 like this. So the way this one too will work is that it will go again and run your program. So is age the same thing as 3? Is age the same thing as 3?
No.
Then it will skip this one again. It will go to the next one. Is age the same thing as 1?
No, sir.
Then it will skip it and go to the next one. Is age the same thing as 2?
Yes, sir.
Then since it's now yes, it will now run this your program here. It will now run whatever you pass under it. So which means if I save this code now, you see that we are going to get English as our result. Can you see now the results
Yes,
on the
yes,
screen?
yes.
It's going to be what?
Yes, sir.
But now there is a
English,
problem
yeah.
because you need to be careful with this, you need to be careful. So now what if I put 3 here? What if I put 3 here? So what is going to be our output now? If it 3 is the age,
Rasta.
so the answer will now be raster. But please, it will not continue with the other one. No, it will skip them. Anytime you see the one that is okay, whatever that follows it, other condition that follows it, it will skip them. It will not bother to check them again. That's how it works. I hope you understand.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir. I understand.
even it doesn't care whether it is this one. Look at it. This one too, you know that it's going to match it. The second one, you see that the condition will be okay too. The second one is okay. The first one too is okay, right?
Yes, sir.
But since the first one is okay, that's the only one it's going to do. It will not do it will not do any other thing that follows it again.
Okay.
Else if that follows it, it will not work again. The first one that it can find that is okay, that's the one it's going to work with. And the remaining one, it's going to skip them.
Okay, sir.
Please, so not that because this one, the condition here is okay, and this one too is okay, it will not do raster math. No, it will not get to that math side. The only one it's going to do, it is raster. So the only one is going to do, it is what? Raster. It will never get to the math.
Yes.
But assuming this first one is not okay, that's when it will get to raster. So maybe if I put 31 here, like that. So this first condition will be false. And since the first condition will be false, that's when it will move to the second one. If the first one is not false, it will not move to the second and the third and the fourth one. No, it will skip them. It will only do the first one that is okay. So if it is this second one too that is okay, it will not even bother to check this third one again because it's now saying math already. So there is no need of going to this next one. Any one of the conditions that is okay, perform the statement, and whatever other condition that follows it, just skip them. That's how it works.
Okay, sir.
We are going to be using all these things later on. That's why I'm putting my time to explain them right now. When we get to the time we'll be using them, I will not be talking much like that. Just like the way you see that I'm using all this equality here like this. Now, when I was talking about them that time, I was explaining them, paying more attention to them. But now that I'm using it, I'm not explaining much about them because I've already explained a lot of things about them like that. That's what is going to happen with all this one too. When we get to the time we are going to be using them later on like that. Please, they are very important there. So this if and if else or the if else if ladder are very important that you can use now to check what is going on. So what's going to be the output of this one now? So let me create something. So we have what's that? So let me have the score. So now what's going to be the value of this one? I have this. So I have if score is greater than 10, or let me just do this one. Let me use the age. I think that one will be more. So the age, let me use it. It can be anything. So let me use age. So if the age is less than, so if age is greater or equals to 0 or greater or equals to 1, and age is less or equals to 17, or let's just say it's less than 10, like this. So console.log, yeah, so let me put that. So I'm coming. Let me is greater or equals to 11, and is less or equals to 17, like this. So S, if age is greater or equals to 18 and is less or equals to 20 uh 25, like this. All right, so now what is going to be the output of this thing here? So which one is it going to
So
be?
you did not put else if here. Just put else alone.
Huh?
The last one, yeah, you did not put else if.
Yeah, it
Only
can be there
else.
now. This one now is what it's going to do if none of them is matching here. If none of them is matching, that's when it will get to this one. So this is what it's going to do if this thing is not matching any of the, like if you check all your condition and if none of them is matching there, that's when it will do the S. The S is what is going to resolve to if any of this condition is not matching there, like that. So that's what the S is doing. It's just like your S when you are dealing with if S. You know, if the if is not okay, then it will do the S. That's what this one too is doing there. If none of this condition is okay, then it will resolve to the S part. So which one now
Okay.
is it going to pick? What's the result here? What's the output? What is it going to output here?
Our fa- our father mother.
Yeah. So why is it going to be that? So what is going to do is that this first condition is that is age greater than 1. You know that is true. You know the 59 is greater
Yes.
than 1, is greater than 1. But there is no way 59 less than 10. So
Yes.
that means all this condition is false. So age is greater than 1, but is not less than 10. So that means all the condition is false. So the next one is that you move to the next condition. So the next condition here is that I'm missing age here. Age is missing here. So the next condition here is that is age greater or equals to 11? Yes. But is age less than 17? No. So since this one
Yeah.
is false, then everything here is false. It will not do them. It will move to the next one. It will check this condition too. Is age greater than 18? Which is yes. But is it less than 25?
Yeah.
So there is no way age is less than 25. So everything here too is false. It will not do it. So the next thing, it will move to the next one too. Is age greater or equal to 26? Yes. But is it less than or equal to 35? No. So that means everything here is true is false. And since all of them are false, it will resolve into this S part. So which means if I save it now, what we are going to get is father, our father or mother here, like that. But what if it is this one? So what is it going to output here now? If it is this 15, So what is he going to output here now? Or if the age is 15, so which one is he going to pick?
Uh,
So our age is 15 now. So which condition is he going to match here?
It's going to
Youthful
match
age.
Youthful what?
Young
age.
shall grow.
Yeah. So the answer is young
You,
shall grow. Why?
you shall do, yeah.
Look at this. You are 15. There's no way 15 will be in this range. There's no way 15 is greater than 18. So 15 is here. This is where it is going to be. If you look at it, the age is 15. Is 15 greater or equals to 1? Yes. But is it less than 10? No. So that means everything here is useless. It will not do it. So it will move to the next one. So when it gets here, is age greater or equals to 11? Yes.
Yes.
Age less or equals to 17? Yes. So since the 2 years, it means it's matching this side. And since it's already matched this one, it's going to print out young shall grow. Don't forget, since this one is matched, so any one of them that is matched, which is this current one here now, this is the one that matched. So whatever that follows it, it will not do them again. It will just keep it. It will not even bother to run them again. Any one of them that match, the other condition that follows it, it will cancel them. That's the end of them. So it's only looking for one. The one that it can match, then the first one that it can match, that's the only one it will pick. And once you see that one, the remaining one, it will just cancel them. And that what I mean by cancel is that it will skip them. It will not even bother to check again because it has already matched the one that we have here. And if I run the code now, you see that what is going to come outside is young shall grow, because this is the condition that is matching here. And since it's matching this condition, it will only do this one and it will skip the remaining one. Yeah, even if all these conditions here are still true, it will not even do them at all. For example, now if I said age is equal to 15 like this, you know that this one too is valid. This one too is valid, but it will never do it like that. If I save it, you see that it will never get here because it has already seen this one already. So once you see this one, like this, it will not even bother to check every other one that follows it. It will just cancel them straightforward. And that's the reason why you see that it's not printing out youthful age, even though the age is actually equal to 15. But because it's that already seen this condition here, this one has been seen already, it will do only this one and it will skip the remaining one. This is how the if, else if, along with the else work. But if none of them is matching, which is what we did first, if none of them is matching, then it will now resolve to the else. Because if you don't put this else part, it means it will not do anything if none of the condition is matched. So if none of the condition is matched here, then nothing will be done. But you still want to do something if none of the condition is matched. That's where this else comes in there, which is something you can use to kind of handle some other cases that is not following your condition there. Don't forget, I always relate this thing to what is going on the page. For example, here we have look at it. If I scroll down on the page, so once we click on the box that have letter A, we want to change the color to red. But look at it now. I said once we click on a button, that's a condition there. So that means the button that we want to change must have letter A. So how do you do this thing here from your code? After you've already gotten the element, you need to check the text that is inside it. And once you get the text that is inside it, what do you need to do? You need to check if the text is the same thing. So if the text is the same thing as A, what do you want to do? You want to change the color to red like this. Else, if it's the text that is inside the box is not like that, then change the color to blue. You can see the application of what we just did here on the page. So you have your button. So, and this button you can click on any one of them. But any one of them that the user click on, we are going to check the text that is inside it, whether it is A or not. So if the text that is inside it is A, we just change the color of that box to red. But if the text that is inside it is not A, then we change the color to blue. But look at what we are using. We are using the if statement, and this is the condition. And this is part of what you'll be doing later on. So based on what is going on the page, you check a condition, and if that condition match, you perform a particular action. If the condition is not matched, then you do another thing entirely there, which is what I mentioned too about the login system. If you go to a site, if you are not logging, what you see is that login. But after you've already logged in, you see that it will not be showing you the login button again. It will not be showing you the logout button. What they are doing there is this if statement there to check which type of text to display or the action to carry out on the button. So if the button currently, or if the user is logged in, then the button is going to be log out. The text there is going to be log out, which is something you can use your if else statement to test. And how do you test that kind of condition? So you are going to have the if. So if the user logged in like this, what did I want to do? I want to change the text of the button to log out like this. So which means you already log in. Else, that means you are not logged in, because this one is just is that you log in or you are not logging. There's no other condition again that you want to check. We don't care about that like that. So yeah, what do you want to do? We want to change the button to login here. So change the text of the button to login. This is one of the application of if else. But what if you are talking about multiple condition? You can do it for a user now. Imagine you have a user, but you want to know whether the user is admin, or you want to know whether they are other type of user there. For example here, if user is admin, I want to do something. What did I want to do? Give, okay, show admin panel. But I can't just say else here, show another thing, because we still have other type of user. So here now I can uncheck again. Else if user is the same thing as student, like this. So show student panel. Then again, because it doesn't stop there, else if user that login is a teacher, like this, I want to show teacher panel. Can you see now? Can you see application now? Application of what we just did now. So this is what you are going to be using to check what you need to show to the user based on who is logging. So if the user that login is admin, show the design for the admin. If the user that login is student, show the design for student. And if the user that login is teacher, then show the panel or the design that for the teacher there, because the interface that the teacher is going to be seeing is different from the interface that the student is going to be seeing. And again too, the interface that admin will be seeing there is going to be combination of everything down here, and other operation too that only admin can perform, that the teacher and student cannot perform. But how do you know which one to show? Can you see the condition we are using here now? And if none of them is there, so we can use S. So that means none of this thing is matching. That means you are not logging. So if the user is not equal to any one of them, you are not logging. So we can show error, or we can log out, or take the user to login page. So take the user to login page like this. See the application. But in order for you to understand this thing better, that's why we are using this simple stuff here to firstly explain it. But when you now get to the time you'll be using it, this is something you are going to be doing there. But if you look at all these text that I just show here, these are complex stuff. That's why I'm typing the text, because in order for you to show different panels or different design, there's a lot of things you'll be doing there like that. But you need to know how this if else work, or how this if else if work. So when you have multiple conditions that need to be tested here, you are going to be using this if else if. But if it's just one condition that you are testing, you can quickly go with this your if and else. That one is just one. Whether you log in or you are not logging, we are not checking anything again. But here you need to check, because the user can be any of these states. The user can be in any of these states. So it can be in the admin state, they can be in the student state, and it can be in the teacher state like that. And based on the state, you show what you need to show to the user there like that. So I'm going to continue here by talking about the next thing that we need to be talking about there, which is going to be array. So the next thing we are going to be talking about is going to be array, because this thing is very important and it's something you'll be using later on, which is under this complex type. So the array is under this complex data type, which is this number one here. So array is under this complex type. So don't forget, we have a variable, right? If you still remember, we have a variable, right? We have a variable.
Yes, sir.
What is variable? What do we use variable for? What do we use variable for? What do we use it to do? What do we use variable to do? Why the silent? What do we use variable for?
Variable initialization.
No, that's not what I'm asking. You're explaining different ways of bringing variable. What I'm asking is, what do we use it for? not how to do it. What do we use it for? What do we use variable for?
Like, I don't understand.
I said we use variable to hold value. We use variable to hold value. Look at this thing now. Look at the variable that I created here. So instead of mentioning this 1515, where we are checking this condition here, as you can see, what I'm doing is age. But age is
Yeah.
representing something. So that's what we call variable. So we use variable to represent value, or we use variable to store value. And anytime you need that value, you just call the variable there like that. And how do you create a variable? That's where you'll be dealing with variable declaration, variable initialization, and assignment of variable. So when you're dealing with normal variable, here I'm declaring a variable and I'm going to call it name, and the value is going to be this Abdul Rakib like this. And if I console log out the name, you see that the value that is going to be there, what we are going to be seeing in the console there, is the value that we put inside that particular variable. It's not going to be, can you see now? What is outputting in that is Abdurraqib, which is the value that is there. But I can change this variable name to anything if I want. I can call it X. Computer doesn't care. This is the name of the variable, and we are using X to represent Abdulrakib there like that. And anytime I call X, it's going to give me whatever that is inside that particular variable. You can call it anything. Here I call this one user. So if I want, instead of X now, I can just call it user. And anytime I ask information about the user there, you see that is still going to output the value that stuff is holding. So it can be any name there like that. But the problem with this thing is that there is a problem here that we want to solve here. And what's that problem? The problem here is that I want this variable now to hold multiple value for me. This single variable right now is holding Abdurraqib, but I want it to hold Abdurraqib and I want it to hold Gabriel at the same time. But right now it's not going to work, because here now if I come down here and I say user should now be Gabriel. So if I put Gabriel like this and if I console log it out, you see that this thing is going to remove Abdulrakib and it's going to replace it with the new value that we are doing here. This is assignment here. I'm assigning Gabriel into user. First, when we are creating the variable, we put Abdulrakib there. So which means the user is representing this value. But after line 240, the value changes to Gabriel here. He is no more Abdulrakib, he is now user. So which means is now Gabriel. Anytime you call user after this line 240, it will always return back Gabriel. It's not going to be Abdulrakib again. The first time on line 237, it was Abdulrakib. But when you get to line 240, we change the value from Abdulrakib to Gabriel. So which means after this line 240, anytime you call user, what you always get back is just Gabriel. But this is not what we want. We want this particular variable to hold the two names at the same time. We want our variable to be able to hold the multiple value at the same time. So I can put Rakib there, I can put Gabriel there, I can put Rasta there, I can put Yemi there, and so forth like that. So this our variable should be able to hold multiple value at the same time, and that's where array comes in. So array is a variable or is a type that can hold multiple value at a time. So array is a variable that you can use to hold multiple value at a time. I hope you are following.
Yes, sir.
So array, we use it to hold multiple value at a time. Normal variable cannot hold two value. If you give it one value and you later change it, it will remove the old one and it will replace it with the new one. But this is not what we want. We want our variable to be able to hold multiple values at the same time, and that's where the array comes in. So instead of us doing it like this, we need to talk to the JavaScript that what we want to have is a variable that can hold multiple value. And how do you talk to JavaScript to create a variable like that for you? So you're going to do const followed by the name of array, whatever name you want to call it is going to be here, and in front of it you are going to add this square bracket. Please, this is what is different now. Can you see now? Can you see? So this is what is different now. This is how to create array of variable of the value there. So when you are dealing with array is just going to be this square bracket here. I'm not even going to put anything yet. So this is what we call array. And whatever you pass inside this square bracket, this variable is going to hold all of them at the same time. So you are going to create your array, and inside the square bracket, you are going to pass whatever you want this uh, variable to hold for you. For example, here now, I want to create a variable x, and this variable x is going to hold 1, 5, 9, and 7 here. Or let me call it x, let me call it scores. So this is a variable here. But this variable here now, look at it, is holding how many value together now? How many value do we have here? How many value do you see here?
Four.
So that means this course is holding all these value at the same time. It's not holding only one, it's not holding only five, it's not holding only nine, and it's not holding only seven. It's holding all of them at the same time. So which means if I console log out, if I console log out this course, you see that it's going to give me all the value, not just one of them. It's going to give me all of them because it's not holding one value, it's holding multiple values. And we use array to achieve something like this. As you can see, it's telling us that there are 4 elements inside it. And what are the elements? This is the first one, this is the second one, which is 5, the third one is 9, and the last one is this 7 there. But it doesn't need to
So,
be, it can be any value. Hello?
I'm with you, sir.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be number, it can be any value. So just like the one I mentioned before, it can just be names of user. For example, here I'm going to have users. The S is just to denote that this is multiple users there. So here we're going to have Abdul Rakib like this. So here I'm going to have Rasta. Here I'm going to have Gabriel. Here I'm going to have Oyin. Here I'm going to have Damola, and so forth like that. So this single variable now is holding all these values at the same time. So here, how do we get the value? Here I can just quickly log out, console log users. And if I save it now, you see that this thing is going to give us all the values that particular this thing, as you can see, is holding 5 values. And what's the first one? First one is Abdurraqib. The second one is Rasta. The next one is Gabriel, followed by Oyin, and followed by this Damola here. So variables, you can use it to hold multiple value. What type of variable you'll be using, or what type of value, how are you going to do it? You are going to be using array. And how do you create array? To create array is just by typing this square bracket like that, and whatever you have inside it, that's going to be the values. And if you notice, all the values are separated by commas here. So each values are going to be separated by comma there. And this is the first one, followed by comma. This is the second one, followed by comma. But don't forget, it can be any value. It doesn't need to be string only. It doesn't need to be number only. It can be any of the type of value that we've talked about. For example, here now, I can create an array that holds Boolean, it's holding string, at the same time, it's holding number like this. It's even holding array itself. It's even holding array itself like this. And if I close it, can you see? Array can hold any value. It can hold Boolean, it can hold string, it can hold number, it can even hold array itself. And this thing is really powerful because you are going to be seeing this thing later on the page like that. So array is really powerful, which is what you can use to hold multiple value at the same time. And this is how you can create your array. Just create your variable. In front of the assignment operator here, just put the square bracket, and inside the square bracket, you list out all the items that you want this your variable to hold. But before we call it a day, how do you have access to the value? How do you access each one of the value? Because right now, if I save the code, it's just giving us all of them. But it's not every time that you need everything. You only need one out of them from the list. Only I want to extract out Oyin, I want to extract out Gabriel, or I want to extract out this Abdurraqib. So how do you get a specific value from your array? So how do you get a specific value from array? So getting a specific value from array. So when you want to get a specific value from array, you are going to be using this pattern here to get a specific value. What we did on this line is to get all the value. When you just when you just call the variable, it's going to give you all of them. Anytime you call the variable like this, it's going to give you all the value that is inside that array. But this is not what we want. We need a specific one. And how do you get a specific one out of the list? So this is what you are going to be doing. You are going to be doing your array or name of, or let me just say array name like this. What is array name? This is the array name here. The user, so the scores here, this is what we call the array name. So whatever name of the variable that you are using there is what is referred to array name. Then followed by this square brackets, and inside it you are going to use what we call index here. So this is how you are going to access any value from your array, and this is how you are going to modify any one of them. So I'm going to get to this one too, because I want to quickly talk about the two of them before we call it today, because it's already 1 hour. So modify a specific value. So when you want to modify it to, it's going to be something like this, then followed by a value. I will get to this one as soon, but let's deal with the access first. So when you want to access from array there, when you want to access a particular value from array, you are going to call the name of the array, followed by the square bracket, then followed by the index. But what is index? What is index? In programming language, index means that you are starting counting from 0. So your counting starts from 0. When you're talking about the index, it means counting starts from 0 like this. When you're talking about position, which is the normal thing that you know, counting starts from 1, which is what you know about. So when you're dealing with position, counting starts from 1. But when you're dealing with index, please, anytime you hear the word index, it means your counting is going to start from 0, not from 1. When you hear the word position, it means the counting is going to start from 1. When you hear the word index, it means the counting is going to start from 0, which means here when you have array like this, so assuming we have this array, we have 1, I have 10, I have 35, and I have 89. So if I want to have access to this one, I need to start counting from 0. So for you to have access to this first one, you need to use index 0. For you to have access to 10, you need to use index 1. For you to have access to 35, you need to use index 2. And for you to have access to 89, you need to use index 3. Please, are you following?
Yes, sir.
When you have array of these values, and you want to have access to this first value, you are going to use index 0 in this way. This is how you are going to have access to it too. But whatever you be passing inside this square bracket is index. And what is index? Index means that your counting is starting from 0 instead of 1. Not that this one is index 1. Oh. This one is on index 1. This is index 0. So the first item is always on index 0. The second item is on index 1. The third item is on index 2. And the fourth one is on index 3. I hope you get the gist now.
Yes, sir.
So which means if you want to have access to item 64, which index are you going to use? If you want to have item on position 64, which index are you going to use?
64 as well. There's no 64 yet.
I said assuming we have array of 64. We have array of let's just say we have array of 95 values. We now want to have access to the 64 position. Which index are you going to use to pick the value there?
64. Then that's going to be 63.
Yes, that's just it. We are just assuming, not that it is there right now. I'm just saying assuming we have 90, we have array of 90 items, but we want to know the index that we're going to use to have access to position 64. You know that position?
Yes.
Anytime you want to get the index, just look at the position and remove -1. That's your index. Whatever element you want to have access to, look at it now. Abdurraqib is the first one. Rasta is the second one. Gabriel is the third one. Then Oyin is the fourth one. And Damola is the fifth one. So what if you want to have access to Rasta now? You know, Rasta is on the second one. Just remove -1. Any position of the element, just -1. That is going to be the index you are going to use to have access to it. So if you want to have access to the first element, 1 minus 1, you know that's 0. So which means for us to get this Abdurraqib from the list of users here now, we need to use, so for us to get it, we need to use these users. So we need to use, what's going on? Users, then the square, what is the index? That's 0. So this one now is going to
Mhm.
give us Abdul Rakib like that.
Okay.
So if you want to have access to Oyin now, so what do we use? So if you want to have access to Oyin,
Four.
have access to Oyin.
Yeah, four.
If you want to have access to Oyin,
In index 3. I'm sorry.
so it's going to be 3 like
It's
this.
too long.
So if you want to have access to Gabriel,
Index 2,
so it's going to be what? It's going to be 2.
2.
So which is going to be Gabriel and so forth like that. But let me console log it out so that we are not just doing it in our head. So now if I just console log out the users at the index 0, you see that it's going to give us Abdurraqib because that's the value at the index 0. So if I give it 4, you know that's the last one, which is going to be Damola here. Why? Look at this array. Can you see all the index? Can you see now?
Yeah.
So for the first one,
Okay.
it's on index 0. The second one is on index 1. The third one is on index 2. The first one is on index. Just remove -1 from the position. It will give you the index. So if you want to have access to the elements on position 30, that means you are going to use index 29. If you want to have
29, yeah.
element on position 295, that means you are going to use index 294. Just remove 1
Yeah.
from the position and that's your index. That's how it works. But when you want to have access to any of the value from the array, what you are going to use is index. Can you see that the array is generating the index? And the way the index is
Yeah.
generating there is depending on how you put the value there. The first one is always index 0. The second one is always index 1 and so forth like that. You can't just assign it yourself. But there's a way of doing it yourself. That's when we'll be talking about object. But right now, the array, it's always static. So the first element is index 0. The second one is index 1 and so forth like that. The same way too, if you want to modify any one of them, just mention the name. So for example, the users are 0, which is Abdurraqib. I want to change it to something else. And what I want to change it to is still Abdurraqib. But now, if you look at it, the way it's been typed before, the A is in small letter, but now I'm changing it to A of a capital letter. But I'm replacing it with whatever that is inside the index 0. So after this line now, if I console log out everything, you see that the user now, it will replace the first item in the list. So what I'm saying here is that the value at index 0, change it to this particular value. And as you can see, the first time, it was a small letter there. But when it gets to the second time, it's now capital A. But it doesn't need to be of the same value. You can change it to anything you want. You can even change it to number. Don't forget, array can hold any value. I can just change it to 35. You see that the first time, it was Abdurraqib, but the second time is now 35. You can, and as you can see, it's only modifying the first one. It's not changing the second one. It's not changing the third one because we mentioned the index of that first one. If I don't want to change the first one and it is the third one I want to change, the third one now should be the 2. Don't forget, whatever the position, -1 from it to get the index. So if I want to have access to the fifth one, just remove 1, that's 4. If I want to have access to the 10th one, that's remove 1, that's 9, and so forth like that. That's how to get index. You don't need to crank your head. Just know the position. Once you know the position of the element, remove -1, and that's the index you are going to use to have access or to modify the value that is inside it there, like that. So this is where I'm going to be stopping here, and in the next, we'll continue from there by talking about objects, and at the same time, we'll talk about functions, and we'll be able to. And I think they want to do ceremony tomorrow. I don't even know, because me, I'm really busy. I'll be able to go there tomorrow like this. But there's a ceremony. I don't know how they want to do it there like that. So I'm going to stop the video because almost it's 1 hour already.
So